Startup insurance provider Vouch raises 90 million, now valued at $550 million. So here we have an article from TechCrunch, which is doing a feature here on the startup Vouch. Pretty cool insurtech from what I can read. Basically, Vouch is an insurance provider for startup companies. So they are literally a startup for startup. They want to offer startup insurance specifically for companies that are new, that are just starting to get their feet off the ground. And since 2018, they've raised $160 million, which is no small feat. So they have 125 employees. They have $550 million valuation, 1,600 clients. Okay, so here's their website. So what Vouch does is they're essentially trying to be the who's who of insurance for startups. In the article, we can see here that it says it's also the preferred business insurance provider to the customers of Silicon Valley Bank, Brex, Caunter, and WeWork. Y Combinator is also refers Vouch to its portfolio of companies. So I'm sure you've heard of names like WeWork and Y Combinator and Silicon Valley Bank. This clearly is a company that they're really trying to be the go-to for startups. What's cool about Vouch is that they are their own insurance company, whereas like a lot of the new insurtechs that are kind of coming out in this space are trying to sort of be, generally they're like going through the broker network path. They're a broker, they're an MGA, or they're like an online platform that tries to match risks with certain companies. But Vouch is their own insurance company. And what's good about that, if we look at the article, they say, one of the major differentiators for themselves is that they're their own business insurance provider for startups. And they have their own insurance carrier, which means they back their own policies. So this translates to essentially they're able to have a lot more control over how they build and underwrite their policies. They are also, what they say translates into better, superior coverage and a better experience for the clients. Popping back over to their website here, we can kind of just take a quick look. We can see at the top all the forms of insurance they offer: general liability, property, D&O, E&O, cyber, employment practices, fiduciary, crime. So they have, the staples that most insurance companies would need, especially starting up. Vouch says a typical client can get a quote and bind their coverage online in under 10 minutes without any phone calls or paperwork. Vouch also has many coverage features that are uniquely geared for startups. You can kind of see here that they have a work from anywhere coverage that is in direct response to the pandemic related shift in remote work and can insure up to $500,000 per occurrence, and can include specific property owned by a startup regardless of the location of that property. So, very reactive to the pandemic situation, which is great, which, you really want these companies to be agile like the startups are going to be. Okay, so some closing thoughts on Vouch here is that I think it's pretty awesome that there's a company out there that's really trying to offer some products for startups, because I know typically it can be hard for new companies to get insurance. Most of the big companies that I've worked at, typically they don't like insuring new businesses. They like to see a certain amount of years of experience. It can be tough for new companies to get insurance. So this is great and something that's so timely. I think in this day and age, especially with so many kind of venture-backed startups coming out and being really successful. I'm curious though to see how this will work as a company starts to grow. Like, what if you have a company like Spotify that can grow quite quickly? Is Vouch going to be able to kind of stay with a company no matter how big it gets, or is there a certain like revenue line there where it says once they cross this threshold, now they have to seek insurance from a more traditional insurer? I'll be interested to kind of see how that works. So yeah, really cool company. I can't wait to hear more about them. I'll definitely be keeping a close eye on them and just kind of seeing what kind of companies that they end up insuring. And it'd be really cool to hear about, a really successful startup that Vouch was able to be there for from the very beginning and help them scale their business, meet their insurance requirements as their business grows. Be sure to check out their website. I'll leave it in the description below.